The general manager of the New Jersey Devils this morning said, "We won't be back with the same group because it wasn't good enough." Some big words from the aggressive Tom Fitzgerald, and I am excited to see where he goes with this because he's a general manager that sticks to his promise. So I'm excited to see this offseason where the New Jersey Devils go after their depressing loss in the first round after making it back to the playoffs. So let's talk all about it. So welcome back to the Yoaki Show, and today we're talking about the New Jersey Devils, the team that lost in the first round to the Carolina Hurricanes after finally making it back after a bad year last season that is crippled by injuries, and you could maybe blame this playoff run as well on injuries to their top players. So let's talk all about it. So like I said at the beginning, Tom Fitzgerald, the aggressive general manager who sticks to his promises. Last year, I remember watching the NHL draft during like the second day of it where they're doing all the other rounds. It's a bunch of hours of boring nonsense. They asked him, I think it was Emily Kaplan, went up and was like, "What are you going to do this offseason?" He was like, we'll be on the watch out. We're always looking to improve." And they were talking about goaltending, and he sure did. He got Jacob Markstrom to fill the boots in that, and he did phenomenal this season, especially his helmet. His helmet was phenomenal too. So he sticks to these promises, and he knows that his team needs improvement. But the big question for this summer and to go in, and of course trade deadline season, of course, right? This is a playoff team no matter what. So they've got time to develop. But what are the New Jersey Devils going to address? Because I don't really know. Being, I will be honest, a Canes fan, I don't know what weaknesses the Devils had. Like, they did seem phenomenal on the ice, right? They were tough games. They were close. And if Freddie Anderson was not as lights out as he was, I was fearing for my life. The Devils were playing great. Jacob Markstrom was phenomenal. It's just the offensive edge just was not there to break through. And was that Anderson playing phenomenal, but also the Hurricanes being a great team? Is that the Devils just don't have that offensive edge? Is that because their number one guy, Quinn Hughes, is not in the lineup? It's a big question, right? And there's a lot of questions going for the New Jersey Devils here, right? So for my biggest complaint or nitpick of the New Jersey Devils, going forward, is they just don't have that, they don't have that edge. They don't have an offensive, just, killing strike. Because if you look in the world of playoffs, right, you look at the teams that win the Stanley Cup, they are teams that are overloaded, right? They are overboard with offense. They have amazing shutdown and a goaltender that picks up all the garbage, right? And this team, they have those pieces together. Their defense, Pesce, Dillon, and then Hamilton was pretty exceptionally good on defense, I would personally say. Siegenthaler. They have good shutdown guys that are in the lineup. So for defense, I don't think that's a problem. They have solid enough depth. I mean, you get down to Steven Nason, Haula on the third line. The Cotter was playing great this year. They have decent offensive depth. Goaltending, Jacob Markstrom is a solid put in the net. Now, of course, he's kind of older, so maybe not in the long run. But for at least the next season, and maybe probably the season after that, he's a solid netminder. So where do the Devils go? Other than hope for God that that Jack Hughes, did I say Quinn earlier too? Whatever, I'll talk about Quinn in a second. That Jack does not freaking go out for an entire season with an injury again. I know it wasn't the whole year, but you get it. And so for me, I don't know. So what could he possibly address? Now, of course, the big one in the room is the idea of Dougie Hamilton being flipped to the Canucks for Quinn Hughes. Now, I don't think Quinn Hughes in that trade is ever going to happen anytime soon, especially for Dougie Hamilton. Of course, there would be more package to it, but Jim Rutherford said that he would trade Quinn Hughes by 2027. I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm sure that guy generates all the money for the team, especially since JT Miller, the only other good player on that team, is out of town now. So they got to keep the big money maker on the team for at least another 2 years. And also, in that point, Dougie Hamilton will not be anything. So Quinn Hughes, that trade is not happening. And I kind of like the idea of it because for me, Dougie Hamilton, he is the offensive weapon, right? And Luke Hughes is there to take over that role, and I think he will be in that role next season. I think he is going to be prime for that big offensive, number one offensive guy to start on the power play, start and everything. starting next season, right? So Dougie Hamilton to me is the type of guy that you could trade out to upgrade some other piece, because you have Nemec, who look decent in the playoffs. You have Casey, and they have other good players coming up too. The Devils are stacked when it comes to prospects, but they have two solid prospects at least that easily can fill in an extra spot for Luke Hughes to jump up and one of them to put into that second line role. So to me, Hamilton's like the one older guy that they could flip and get something, a piece to fill in some of their holes, right? And to me, the biggest thing is they need reinforcements for offense, whether it's because Jack Hughes is injured or just to be simply overloaded with offense so they can finally break through a guy like Freddie Anderson when they run into that brick wall. Or say if the New York Rangers gets back in the playoffs and they meet in the first, second round of the metropolitan area of the bracket, Shesterkin will be there, right? If they make it to the conference finals at some point, there's so many options of who could end up back there, right? And to me, between Jack Hughes not really being exceptional in the Four Nations face-off, Jesper Bratt being undersized, Nico Hischier being a great, amazing two-way center, which I gotta say, the Devils' top six, all of their top guys of Bratt, Hischier, Hughes, all of them are fantastic. They have all the makings to be a cup contender, and I've been saying it for a while. This is the dynasty coming up. This is going to be a dynasty, and once they figure something out. But they need that overload, overloaded offense. They have great defense, I think. Between their defense and goaltending, I think is solid enough. I think that is good enough, at least a good foundation. But they need that upgrade of offense, right? And to me, it's just Dawson Mercer, I don't think is really going to become that offensive weapon. They need that fourth guy. They need that one more guy to put them over the edge. So it is a hard question, because right now in the realm where JT Millers were just traded, right? They already got Timo Meier, who has not really become that offensive weapon either. They've missed out on some of these other trades, like Mikko Rantanen, let's say. They've missed out on some of these other big opportunities to grab one of those big fish to really overhaul that offense, that top six, to look phenomenal and just become too deadly for any team to mess with. And to me, it's in a tough world, because right now the only people, of course we're in the dead era where there's, trades aren't happening right now or anything. But right now on the big blocks, you could say a team like the Rangers are selling Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider. I think one of those kind of guys potentially could be a solution, but I'm not really totally convinced. And I keep looking at draft boards, trade boards, seeing who are some of the big names out there. Anders Lee is out there. He would be a decent trade deadline kind of pickup, but just not really, that's not the solution, right? I don't really know at this point, because you could look back to the Canucks, right? And you could say, maybe what the hell? What if they do a Dougie Hamilton, Dawson Mercer, and some other pick, maybe however you say the new guys, Gritsnuk, whatever, something like that. Maybe you could trade them away, get in a Quinn Hughes and an Elias Pettersson, some insane, outrageous trade like that. Which I don't even know if Cap would work for that. But to me, the reality of the New Jersey Devils at this point is that they are a team that is put together. This is the foundation. This is the base, right? This is the castle of hell. The New Jersey Devils are put together. All of their top players, the top six, top guys, on for at least the next 2 seasons, are pretty locked in place, I feel like. Defense, offense, goaltending. So when he says we're going to be making trades, we're going to be making moves, we're not going to come back with the same team, I don't know, because Luke Hughes is looking for a big contract extension as well. And so that's going to delete some cap space. So unless you move out a guy like Dougie Hamilton and you can find the right kind of trade target. But right now in the NHL, I can't honestly think of who someone could. Of course, the San Jose Sharks, they said that they're willing to shop their pick. And if they have the second overall one in such a loaded draft, they could maybe I don't know if the Sharks want Dougie Hamilton, but swap Dougie Hamilton, maybe add in one of the, a Casey or Nemec, whichever one you don't want, toss them with that, and then you get that second overall pick, and maybe you get a guy like Hagens, you get a guy like Michael Misa, and that could maybe potentially be that extra weapon on offense, right? So that's just been some options, right? It's, for me, the Devils are a hard team. They're not old enough to really start moving out guys. And like I said, the only real like valuable kind of guys I think maybe could be moved is like a Dougie Hamilton. Dawson Mercer could use an upgrade, or at least be pushed down to like the third line, or not be a true second line center. Those are the only complaints I truly have for the New Jersey Devils. And that's a pretty good thing. But I don't know. The New Jersey Devils, this is the type of team that is, and Fitzgerald knows this, is to just stick it out. Is to sit down and just know that this is the squad. This is who we got to run with. And they're going to. And it'll be exciting to see, because this team is stacked for years. And I'm excited for one day to Quinn to jump over as well. And yeah, so that's all I got to say, which I know is a whole lot of nothing. But it's just a little bit of a chat about the New Jersey Devils. I love their future. I love their odds. It's just right now they do need that boost. Because when you're up in a division, when a team like Carolina is in the win now mode, it's going to be a tough win. When you're in a division with the Capitals having a big year, it's going to be a tough win. When you're in the Eastern Conference, where if you run into the Eastern Conference Finals against the Leafs, against Tampa, which I don't know. It'll be interesting when they finally make that big breakthrough and see what teams are good then. Because right now, I feel like the Devils could definitely be the team that emerges as the number one Eastern team in a year or two. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And until next time, too sweet, I hope you have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.